Hi, and welcome to this new episode of Girls in the Grid. I'm Nienke, and today I'm joined by Henrike and Julia. Due to personal reasons, Kelly won't be here today. And today we will be talking about the French Grand Prix. This week we'll be talking about the French Grand Prix because we thought it would be boring, but it was everything except boring.
True. It was.
It already started with 3 practices, with a few crashes here and there, people going off, people looking strong but not looking strong during qualifying of the race.
Not even surprised.
No, but there were quite a lot of runoffs. A lot of people who, just
both Haas, at least. Well, Mick crashed and Mazepin just spun.
Yeah.
Not really surprised with that one.
No, but he didn't crash, so I think that's a good one.
It is.
Improvement.
Yeah, it's about the small things in life.
Maybe by the end of the year, like the last 5 races, there won't be anything anymore. Improvement. It's his rookie year.
Exactly. And I mean, Mick spins, Yuki spins. There's only one rookie that doesn't spin a lot.
True.
But
for anyone who doesn't get it, we're talking about Fernando Alonso.
Yeah, he's our honorable mention rookie.
Yeah, but yeah, free practice was.
It was worth watching.
It was worth watching, definitely.
So, gotta say, this free practice wasn't as eventful as Baku.
I know.
But still, I think for installation laps, it was good.
Yeah.
And some teams got us really confused about their strength for the race.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And
it was a confusing weekend.
It was.
To say the least.
Yes.
Yes. So not a lot to talk about free practice, but moving on to qualifying, quite a lot happened there. 2 red flags in Q1, which is for French Grand Prix quite a lot.
Exactly, because normally nothing ever happens there.
No, exactly. No. So it was weird seeing 2 red flags. First one being Tsunoda crashing quite early into the session.
Yeah.
Once again, not surprised anymore.
No, I feel like he started off on such a high and he's like unraveling a bit.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see what they'll do by the end of the year.
Oh, yeah. I was just about to say the same, because if Yuki keeps on crashing every single weekend, maybe even more than once a weekend, he's gonna be long gone by the
end of the year.
Yeah, thanks.
Or at the end of the year,
At the end of the year. I don't think they're gonna drop him earlier because that basically makes no sense, because who else would they get?
Yeah.
Alex Albon. But
he's in DTM, but
exactly. So he's got a fear for his seat next season if he keeps on like this.
So Yuki crashing resulted in Stroll not being able to set a time. Then after Yuki's crash and the session restarted, he tried to set a time, but then his lap time got deleted because of track limits. And then Mick crashed at the end of Q1, resulting in him going to Q2.
But not taking part.
No, but
because of the crash.
P15 is the best the Haas has qualified this year. So,
I mean, I think he wouldn't have been able to qualify much higher.
No,
because it's still a Haas. He's still a rookie.
Exactly.
But I would have loved to see how he would have handled Q2.
Yes. And I think if Stroll would have set a time, he wouldn't be in Q2.
Yeah,
Probably not.
So
he's pulling a Ferrari move. He's already preparing for what's coming to him.
Yeah, I was about to say he pulled a Schumacher, but
he's a Schumacher.
Yes,
it's a Schumacher.
So
he'll learn from his dad. So
exactly. So
yeah. Well, on the other hand, apart from the crash, I think it's a good confidence boost for him.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
Proving that he is a capable driver. Maybe that the Haas isn't as capable as it used to be, but it's still somewhat capable.
As people think.
Yeah.
But in the end, it's still a Haas.
True.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah,
I think Mick is definitely getting a lot more out of the car than Mazepin is.
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
But we'll see what's gonna happen in the next races. We still got like
And
a lot
next
of
year,
races. ahead.
yeah,
Yes.
and next year because they're developing their car for next year,
Exactly. That's why they
Can't
didn't
wait.
develop it.
and
this
they
year.
do have a lot more funding this year to develop that car.
Yes.
So I am curious to see how they'll handle their car
Yes.
and everything next year. But that's to be seen.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Alpine and Ferrari, they both were different than we expected, I think. Alpine looked way stronger
Yes.
than we expected. And
Yeah.
Ferrari was
Totally off this weekend.
yes.
Yeah.
Not that much during
Definitely.
quali. During quali they look really strong. But during the
Well, I
race-
wouldn't say really strong, but
They've looked stronger this year.
true, but
yeah.
they look
Yeah.
they look strong during quali. Not very strong, but they look quite strong.
Yeah.
Compared to the race pace, they definitely looked really strong.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
And Alpine has been doing pretty good this year. I mean, gotta be honest, did not expect it.
No, me neither. Definitely not. So
especially with a rookie in the team, you know,
Yeah.
it's hard.
I was wondering who you're talking about, but
Well,
gotcha.
he has been racing better than I expected for him
Yes.
because he's been out of the sport 2 years. He's not one of the young drivers.
No. Well,
He's,
he did the young driver test.
yeah. But
So
He's younger than Kimmy.
yes.
I think he is. I have no clue if he actually
I
is younger
think
than
he is
Kimmy.
younger than Kimi.
I think Kimi is the oldest one on the grid.
Yes, I think he is.
Okay.
Well-
So
Still, he has been doing better than I expected.
Yeah,
yeah,
Gotta give
for
him
sure.
that.
for sure. And then we have Max taking pole.
Really did not expect that one.
I did expect it. The Red Bull has been
I-
looking so strong all year already.
And Mercedes has been looking so bad all year.
I know, exactly.
Well,
I mean,
gotta say this again, but Valtteri looked so strong during free practice and
Yeah.
Q1 and Q2, and then Q3 comes and he's just nowhere again.
Exactly.
yeah, Valtteri has been he looked good this weekend. Like in our prediction post on Instagram, be sure to check it out by the way. I put Valtteri up in my top 3 for podium finishes. I think I still stand by that
Yeah, I don't.
podium.
I put Carlos Sainz in there.
Same. No
That
clue
was-
what I thought there, but
Girls, I don't know if you watched qualifying. I didn't, but I knew Ferrari wasn't that strong.
He in qualifying he was pretty strong.
qualifying, they look so strong. He outqualified Charles Leclerc,
Yeah.
and
But
I
think
really
during-
thought
no,
that they
yeah.
could have continued that in the race,
Yeah.
but they just didn't.
They
no.
did.
And I'm always going for a
Bold prediction.
Bold prediction.
Yes.
and the Mercedes DNF or crashing out.
Well, putting Valtteri up there was also a bold prediction because he has not been doing
Yeah,
great this
that,
year.
That was,
so-
that was a bold prediction as well, yeah. So that was qualifying. Quite a lot happened for French terms, I think. But so
Sure.
did in the race because obviously we had Max on pole, but not long after Lewis took the lead in the race because Max went wide.
Because of the wind.
Yes, and then he lost his lead to Lewis. But due to bad strategies, they got the lead back.
Red
It-
Bull
it was-
finally go.
No, I was
Okay.
I was
Well-
gonna say go, go.
So Red Bull pulled a Mercedes from Barcelona. They basically did the same, just the other way around. And I was like, when they were I was watching with my roommate. They're like, "Why are they stopping Max?" I'm like, "No, they're smart. For
Yeah.
once, they're smart.
Yes.
They're smarter than Mercedes, because normally Mercedes does these kind of badass moves, but this time it was Red Bull,
Yes.
and
I was
it
surprised.
obviously paid off.
It did. Oh.
Yeah. I was shouting at my TV when Mercedes didn't pit because, like, in the beginning, after like the first, everyone did their first pit stop. They said, "Oh, it's gonna be a two-stopper because first pit stop was so early on."
Yes.
Yeah,
And then they also said, like, "Yeah, well, the undercut on this circuit is very big. It's bigger than we expected. So you need to be smart about when you make your moves." And then Red Bull pitted and I was like, "Ooh, smart move." And then Mercedes didn't pit and I was like, why? Why?
Yeah.
Valtteri Bottas was wondering the same.
Yeah, but
And
you know
he
the
was
thing is-
right.
He was,
was.
but the thing is, Checo didn't do a two-stopper either, and he ended
No,
up on the
but-
podium.
But Checo is the god of tire management.
Also, like,
True.
they pitted Bottas and Hamilton too early
Yeah.
to not do a two-stopper.
True.
And they pitted Checo late enough
So
to
late.
do a one pit stop.
Yeah. Yeah, they just Red Bull was really on point with their strategies this week.
Yeah.
Love it.
I think as well with Checo letting Max pass, Red Bull proved why they need a strong second driver.
Yes, because I don't know if you've heard the board radio of
Yeah.
Checo, because
Mhm.
on the board radio he was like, "Okay, tell Max to push. Let's get them."
Yeah.
And that just proves that that Red Bull has made the right decision to get Checo Perez for the
Yeah.
second driver.
And
Definitely.
I think with maybe another lap or two, it would have been a 1-2 for Red Bull.
Yes, for sure.
Which is exciting. It makes me happy to be
Yes.
able to say that.
Yes.
Same.
'Cause finally,
Same.
the Mercedes dominance is gone.
Yeah.
I still can't believe this.
Oh, it's great.
I do feel sorry for Bottas though.
Yes.
No.
I do
I
because
do.
he knew what was gonna happen.
He told the team to do a two-stopper.
And he told them early enough, so it wasn't like lap 50. Why didn't you let me pit? He told them early enough, like, I have to pit now. And then the team was like, screw you, we're not gonna pit. And then they were mad at Bottas. Like, why didn't you were able to hold off Max and Checo? And I was like, it's your own goddamn fault.
Yes, it was.
Toto Wolff will say it's Bottas' fault that they lost the race.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
The internet and everyone else says it's his fault. Toto's
It was.
fault,
Well,
just to be clear, and not Bottas.
Yeah, I was confused for a second, but it definitely is, because from what I've heard with Bottas' radio message, it sounded like he already said that before the race even started.
Yeah.
yeah, because he was like, I
So-
told you it was going to be a two-stopper.
And after the first
Exactly.
pit, he was like, oh, so we are going to do a two-stopper. So he was also prepared to pit twice. And then
Yeah.
it made me angry at Mercedes.
It's just
Also-
weird to see.
No, go ahead.
It's just weird to see Mercedes doing so many mistakes this season. Like, not just Mercedes, but also Lewis himself. It's just something we're not used to anymore, because over the last almost 8 years,
Yeah.
it's always been Mercedes that
Yes.
never made a mistake, or Lewis not making a mistake, and maybe like 1 or 2 mistakes a season. But now how many races do we have?
7?
Now we're a couple of races in their season, and if they continue like this, I'm
Well,
ready for that, to be honest.
Yeah, same.
Well, the thing also is they're just not used to fighting anymore.
No.
Their team
Mhm.
isn't performing at the level that even a Williams are, because Williams and Haas and Alpine and Ferrari and Red Bull and all the other teams, they're used to fighting and being on top of their game. Mercedes is used to winning. And if they slack off a bit, a tenth of a second in a pit stop, it doesn't matter for them because they're still 100 points ahead Now they are not, and they need to be on top of their game. And neither the drivers nor the team is used to that anymore. So they're under a lot of stress and they make mistakes.
Yeah.
In some way, this is making me happy.
Some
Yeah.
way it is, but on the other hand, it shows that Mercedes has been so dominant for the last couple of years, just used to indeed only winning, not fighting. Now they actually
Yeah.
have to put up a fight for even a podium, not even the win, but just a podium already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Also, at one point, I don't know if it showed on your TVs, but they showed Mercedes getting ready for a pit stop.
yes,
Yeah.
and then they didn't.
And I thought,
pit
like, oh, they're gonna bring. I was gonna
Bottas
say, like,
in.
yeah, they're gonna bring someone in, and then nobody went in. And I was like,
Exactly. I was expecting Bottas to go in at that point, and then I was like,
Exactly, because like Lando was like almost a minute behind him, and there
Yeah.
would have been enough time to do the pit stop and
Exactly.
still get
close
the
the gap.
no, not close the gap, but get the fastest lap.
Yeah.
That as well, yeah.
And-
Because just imagine the fight continuing and Mercedes losing
By
the
one
championship
point.
by 1 point.
Yeah. Well, I do have like a maybe a bit of controversial opinion on that
Oh, give it
late pit
Jazz.
stop for a fastest lap. I think in like the last 5 to 10 laps, people shouldn't be allowed to pit stop anymore unless it's for like necessary things, like the tires are unable to go till the end and
Yeah.
things like that. But I think it's so unfair that teams can pit stop the last 5 laps and then get a point for the fastest lap, because it's not fair anymore. It's not fun anymore. At that point, you're not even racing, you're just qualifying and going for one fast lap. And I think there should be another rule that prevents that.
I get what you're saying, but on the other hand, it does make it interesting, because if the person in lead and winning the race also has the fastest lap, then the gap with like the first team and the rest of the teams could be so big. And because they have this fastest lap point for the top 10, I think it makes it easier to not have that much of a gap, especially for the midfield teams.
Yeah, but you never see the midfield teams do it because they can't afford to go back 5 places just for 1
Exactly.
point. So it's always people that are in fourth, which is still most of the time a Red Bull or a Mercedes, that do the move.
Yeah.
And I think it takes a bit away of the racing
It
aspect.
does. Yeah, it definitely does.
But that's on another video. Maybe we can like make a podcast on our whole opinion of like the point system and
Yeah, rules.
the
yeah.
fastest lap.
And also
rules.
compare like the old to the new system and see how many points old champions would have had, and with the new system and new champions with the old system, and
Yeah.
what would have changed.
Yeah.
Good one.
Gotta
So-
write this down. Gotta write this down somewhere. I don't have a. I don't. Have a
I have
pen.
it. I have it recorded. So.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, I think with pit stops and everything, Mercedes definitely wasn't on the top of their game this weekend.
No, definitely not.
But there were a few people who were on top of their game, and 2 of them being Lando Norris and Daniel Ricciardo, doing a double overtake on Fernando Alonso, gaining
Yeah.
6 places within 6 laps.
Honestly, that move Lando put, like Daniel's one was already so good.
Yeah.
And then, like, I have no clue where Lando had that. But
Pace.
that move was so
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
It was.
It
really
was like out of nowhere. Definitely did not expect that move
No.
at that time. And then he just pulled it, and I was like, Lando,
good one.
Yeah.
really good
Also-
one.
Is this the time we're gonna see I was gonna say Daniel coming back? Is he getting
Yes.
used to the car?
I hope he
Yes.
is.
I think he is.
Yes, definitely, because it really showed this weekend. But, I mean, he drove an amazing race, gained a lot of positions during the race. So I think this is the point where Daniel's actually used to the
Yeah.
car. It took him
Also-
a little over 5 races,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. There wasn't a big difference between the two McLarens.
No,
Like in the past races, they were pretty neck on neck.
neck to neck.
Yeah, neck
Yeah.
to neck.
Yes.
So I think that also proves for me that he's coming back.
Yeah. definitely.
exactly. Which I personally love to see, to be honest. It's
Yeah.
especially like, besides the fact that Daniel is one of my favorite drivers, but for the fight McLaren got going on with Ferrari, it's really, really essential that both drivers deliver every race.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Carlos Sainz has done that, and Daniel not so much. And now seeing all four drivers, well, not Charles this week, but all four drivers on top of their game finally is. Ooh, I think there's
It's-
going to be a great battle for third in constructors.
Yes, definitely.
I think there is. Especially with like, I think AlphaTauri could come in for the battle for third place.
Depends on how Yuki will perform.
Depends on how Yuki, but Pierre is doing so good.
Pierre is doing amazing.
Yes.
And I think Pierre has gotten points in every race so far.
Not sure.
No, AlphaTauri
think
as a team has gotten points in every race so far, I think. But Lando has gotten points in every race.
Every race, yes.
He's the
uh,
only driver who has done that.
Yes.
he's only
That's-
one race where he didn't finish in the top 5.
Yeah, that's
One
crazy.
race, and then he finished P8. That's
Yeah.
insane.
It
It's
is.
also crazy, like, he's the only driver who has done that in, and this is gonna sound so bad, but in just a McLaren. It's
I
not,
know.
we used to see that with Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari.
Yeah. Exactly.
McLaren has just come back to the sport
Yes.
being good.
Yeah.
And it really
He's-
shows. And I think if Lando wouldn't have re-signed his contract this year, he might be up for a seat at Mercedes next year. You know?
We're all just silent. We're all just
I
silent.
don't think I agree with that, but
No.
I do
If
see
he
your
didn't-
point, and I do think there's a bigger chance of him going to Mercedes than him going to Ferrari or
Yeah.
or Red
Or
Bull,
Red Bull,
or any
exactly.
other top team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a feeling. Oh, Julia coming in with bold predictions.
Fun.
I've got a feeling that with the new regulations and everything next year, Mercedes will drop back a lot, and you can already see that starting out that they're not the top of the game anymore. And I think if McLaren continues what they've been doing for the last couple of years, and the improvement they've got in like 2 or 3 years with the driver lineup they've got now, with a really experienced driver and the other driver just being so comfortable with the team, I think big things are coming for McLaren.
For sure.
Question, bouncing off of your prediction. If you predict that Mercedes is going to fall back, which I get your prediction,
Yeah.
do we want George in that seat then?
No.
Because
I want to
love-
say yes, but I want to say no. It's
I
If-
love to see that man in
difficult.
a Mercedes, but if Mercedes is gonna keep on going and doing what they do now, then it's gonna
Because-
be not better than a Williams.
Williams has been improving significantly. Did not say that word very smooth, but y'all get it. Williams has been improving. Mercedes has been falling back.
I think George is gonna switch teams, but stay peaceful.
I think he will, and I think if there's any man who can keep Mercedes at the top competing, it's gonna be George.
yes.
But he needs a good
But-
car.
He needs a good car, like any driver does.
Yes.
And it is something we can think about. What if Williams is going to improve so much with the new regulations and Mercedes is going to fall back so
Yeah.
much? Can you imagine George moving riding P18 or ending P12 in a Mercedes Williams ending P8.
Oh, that's gotta be such
Oh,
heartbreak.
Oh, I'm in Spain, but the S is silent.
This time it's silent.
This time it's
Pain, but
silent.
yes, it's loud.
Yeah. Oh, I don't want to think about that, but I do get your
No,
point.
I don't think Mercedes is gonna drop back that much.
No, but
I'm not
over
sure.
the years, maybe.
Yeah, over the years. Next year they won't drop back that much
No.
already.
Next year, Williams also won't end up P8.
P8.
But, you know, I think the gap is coming closer and closer and switching.
That's kind of the plan of like the thing they want to achieve with the new regulations, that the whole grid is getting closer together. So of course Williams gonna improve and Mercedes
Yeah.
just gonna drop back.
Yeah.
And I hope that we don't have this top team or back markers anymore with the new regulations. And when every single team is like more or less on the same level with everything. And it's really like even this season it's kind of predictable that either Red Bull or Mercedes is gonna end up on the podium. Of course we've had Gasly, Norris, Sainz on there, even Vettel in Aston Martin, but in the end, it's still a Mercedes or Red Bull
Yeah.
winning.
But still,
And-
I think we've been spoiled this season.
Yeah,
We have
of course,
been.
I'm not saying that this season has been
No,
boring
no,
because
no,
it hasn't
I know.
been. But
Yeah.
you were stuck on my screen,
Oh.
both of you. I was so confused. Yeah.
But
Okay, I think we should talk about George P12 now, with all the
Yeah.
discussion we've got going on right now.
so about George and Williams, he did a really great race this weekend, I think P12 for Williams.
That's incredible.
But I
It
think
proves
that's
my
the best it's
point.
gonna be for this year for Williams,
You know-
unless people DNF.
One or two people slow
Maybe
pit
3 or
stop.
4.
So if it's DNF,
Supposed to rain in Austria.
yeah. Oh, I'm so down for a wet race again.
I miss wet races.
Same.
Just hope that the last wet race we had, George DNF. So he better not do this if he wants to end up a bit higher
Oh,
than
but-
12.
Last wet race was a
Yes, but I'm so down
Spicy.
for another mess. I'm up
Yeah,
for, I'm
I
up for
think-
another mess. I'm not down. For
I love wet races as long as a safety car doesn't come out.
Yeah, or like
yes.
Because the second that safety car comes out and people have to just drive in a straight line, I'm like, ciao, I'm going to bed. This is just...
Yeah, because there's no point in racing, then just don't race at all.
Yeah, then
yeah.
every time the safety car comes out, not for like a crash, because then I get it, but for like a wet race, I'm like, just red flag it. No point in
Exactly.
driving.
Yeah.
What are y'all doing? Unless it's the Aston Martin safety car.
So I think it's safe to say the most exciting thing about the race was the fight between Max and Lewis and the fight for the win in this race, because that was something.
That was a last minute move Max pulled there.
It was.
I got
Those are
so
my
nervous.
favorites.
It was a great Super Max moment.
It was. Also, like, hearing the crowd cheer the moment he passed Lewis, it gave me chills.
I couldn't hear them because I was screaming too loud.
My dad was screaming really loud. The only thing I could hear was our Dutch commenter being like, "He's coming, he's coming." And
No, but like,
my dad screaming.
yeah, like those late moves,
Oh, I love
like
that.
people passing each other in like the last 2 laps. For me, it's my favorite moment
Yes,
from
it is.
any motorsport race in
Yes.
general.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter if it's DTM, Formula 1, Formula 2, MotoGP. I don't care what it is. I love last minutes.
Same.
Yeah, same.
Because it makes
Takes-
everything so much more exciting. Because you're like, oh, is he gonna pass? Is he not gonna pass? Who's gonna win?
Yeah.
It's just
And like, is he gonna stay ahead, or is he gonna on the straight pass again?
Yes,
I was concerned for a second that Max was not able to catch Lewis,
same.
because it was like the gap was still so big, and then within 1.5 laps he caught up, and the gap was like 2.5, 3 seconds, and then he was just there, and I was like, I think this is gonna work out.
Yeah, and you're
And
like,
then it did work out.
I was on the edge of my seat.
It
We
was
did
so
it.
exciting. But
It was
then-
good.
That was so good.
and it was good.
I swear
see
to God,
that.
I'll turn into a Max Verstappen fan this season.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of a Max Verstappen fan. Not like,
Well, yeah.
I think like
I'm like a neutral fan.
no, I'm kind of a Max Verstappen fan. I mean, I live in a household where basically everyone's a Max Verstappen fan.
Yeah.
But
I
it
live in
was-
a household where my dad just shits on every driver. Like literally,
I love that.
not even.
Yeah, but it was great to see Max win the race, and because it's the gap between Red Bull and Mercedes got a bit bigger again this week with a double Red Bull podium. But yeah, it was great.
It definitely was. I love it. Honestly, this excitement is exactly why I love the sport.
Yeah.
And after 8 years of not really having that, we're getting it back. Where
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
is so unpredictable, and you never really know how the race will turn out.
No, and
Yeah.
because Lewis is really under pressure with the championship, and Max actually putting up a fight, and Red Bull having a really strong second driver, you can see that he's starting to make mistakes here and there, and that he's not as
Yeah.
concentrated in everything as he was.
Yeah.
Years
I'm
before.
smiling way too hard about this.
He's
Yes.
got to keep his head in the game.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so sad that I smile because the driver is making mistakes, but
No, but it's good for like the fight and the championship and like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
excitement
And I'm
of
also
the race.
smiling because Max is so on top of his game.
He is
Like
He-
he's always
Yes.
been a good driver, and he's always been a very clean driver. But in the past,
Yeah.
he used to like still make mistakes here and there. He was a very aggressive driver, but now he's driving so clean.
yes,
And
He's
that just
improved
makes
so
me
much.
happy.
Like, when he started driving in Formula One, I would have never imagined that he could get his race under control and
No.
really deliver on track, and not just like he's waiting. He's not just trying too hard to get the move done.
yeah.
He's actually taking his time, and seeing how he developed over the last years. It's great, and I think it's time that man finally gets the world championship he deserves, because right now he definitely is one of the best, if not the best driver on the grid.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
So this was our video for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to check out all our social media. It will be linked in the description box below. And leave a suggestion if you want any new videos from us, and tell us what you thought of the race.